Hello friends, my name is Sive and this is Stories in Sive. Today's video is going to be a weekly reading challenge in which I attempt to finish two series that I don't want to bring into 2022. Over the next week, I am going to attempt to finish two books, one which is the final installment in a completed series and one which is the last available installment in a open-ended series. So let's talk quick about the books. The first book I'm going to read is Winterkeep by Kristin Cashore, and this is the fourth book in the open-ended Graceling Realm series. And what I mean by that is that there is a fifth book promised, but there's no release date. I don't really want to bring this series into 2021 because this book, Winterkeep, was released in 2021. And it was one of my anticipated releases. Came out in January and now it's November. So I don't want to put this off any longer. It's been on my TBR, let's do it. The Graceling Realm series covers a wide variety of places. There is a land and there is Gracelings. Those are magical people in which they inhabit different abilities. Now, this book specifically follows after Bitterblue, which is the third book, and that is the name of a monarch who came into power, and she's now the Queen of Monsea. So Monsea and Winterkeep are two different cities, and there is a conflict there, and that's kind of the extent of what I know about this book. An interesting thing about this book is that it has actually come out 9 years after Bitterblue. So this is highly anticipated for those who have loved the series and grew up with it in the 2010 era. This is YA and I am excited to get to it. The other book I'm hoping to finish this week is The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakroborty, and this is the final installment to the Daevabad trilogy, which I have been reading, and I love this series so much. I'm so dang excited to read it. I can't imagine putting this book off any longer than I already have. I read books 1 and 2, The City of Brass and Kingdom of Copper, last year for the first time via audiobook and loved them so much that I wanted the books for Christmas and I got them, and I have reread these. Over the summer of 2021, I reread The City of Brass and Kingdom of Copper in anticipation for reading The Empire of Gold. The Empire of Gold was released late in 2020, and I have been very blessed to magically have avoided spoilers for the ending of this series. So in order to not push my luck any longer, I'm hoping to finish it this week. This series follows our young Nahid, Nari. Nari is a thief from Cairo, and she thought to be a regular human until she accidentally summons a deva who is a jinn named Dara, and Dara whisks her off to the magical land of Daevabad, in which she is very ill-equipped for the politics that she is thrust into. It comes to light that she comes from a long line of very powerful magical healers, which had thought to be extinct before Nari showed up. And so not only is she thrust into these crazy politics, she's also thrust into a place of power in which a lot of people are looking at her. She is under a very oppressive regime, and there is stirrings of new rebellions and civil war. This is a multiple perspective story. We follow 3 perspectives, including Nahri and Dara. And the third perspective is a man called Ali Zaid, and he is part of the current monarchy that it oversees and rules over Daevabad. He's the son of the current king, and that is our third perspective. Now, I will say that this is something I will run into throughout this challenge. Talking about a last book, or like just a book in a series that is not the first book, is very difficult because where we're at in this book is spoilers for the first and second book. So these are going to be spoiler free. I'm going to talk about these as absolutely vague as possible, but in an attempt to pique your interest, I'm still going to give you my very candid thoughts and feelings as we move forward. So that brief description of the Daevabad trilogy is pretty specific to the first book, The City of Brass, because there are some items on that list that are no longer applicable here. The Daevabad trilogy has been a very special series for me so far. It was one of the first multiple perspective epic or adult fantasy books that I have read since starting back reading, since I rediscovered my love of reading, and it's definitely sold me on being a huge fan of the fantasy genre. Through the series, I've discovered my love of reading about politics, my love of morally gray characters who are trying to make decisions in the best way possible, but somehow it always ends up screwing them up. It's just been thoroughly entertaining while also pulling on my heartstrings and getting me to care about these characters. This is also an anticipated book for me for this year, and that is why it's on this list. So moving forward into this week, I have a little bit of a plan, structure, if you will. I have sectioned out the different pages that I need to read for each of these books every day in order to finish by Sunday of next week. As you can see, both of these are absolute brick of a book. I mean, we've got many, many pages to complete this week. I'm going to be listening to Winterkeep via audiobook, and then I'm going to be reading The Empire of Gold and annotating it on my copy while also listening along with the audiobook. In total, between these books, we have around 1,300 pages to read, so this is going to be a pretty heavy undertaking, but I am confident that my anticipation and my love for both of these series are going to propel me through this week. That's all I got for you. Just wanted to say hi, welcome to the vlog. I'm very, very excited about this reading challenge, and I will see you in a bit. Bye. Hello friends, it is Monday night and I just want to give you a quick check-in. I am reading Winterkeep and I started it this morning with my audiobook, and I listened to a little bit while I was at work, and it's not great. I'm very sad that I'm not liking this a whole lot so far. We're following Bitterblue. She's looking into the death of a few of her emissaries that was reported to her a couple of months ago, and she's realizing that it might have been a murder. And also, while this is happening, we're seeing a completely new set of characters. And unfortunately, I'm not liking it a whole lot so far, but I am open to it and I'm going to give it a good shot. Again, we are dealing with characters who are graced, as in they have different powers and different abilities, which is great. It makes the magic system extremely engaging and extremely versatile. However, I'm not really all about this new point of view just yet. So I read what I needed to for Winterkeep today, and I'm not even a quarter of the way through this, so I just need to keep my mind open and all will be well. Next, a little update for you from Empire of Gold. Oh my goodness, I am so happy to be back in the land of Daevabad. This book picks up right at the end of the Kingdom of Copper. We're seeing all three of these perspectives in situations that we've never seen them before, so their interactions are very different. Their responses are really, really interesting, and I'm just thoroughly enjoying this so far. I'm scared. That's all I've got to say. Like, just being back with these characters reminds me of how much of an impact they had on me and how they really pulled at my heartstrings and how much I care about them, and I'm definitely very nervous going into this. Thankfully, that isn't stopping my enjoyment, but yeah, I just feel it's very anticipated. Like, this is coming to a culmination of all of these actions and all of these political movements, and what is the result gonna be? I'm very pleased to be reading both of these books at the moment, and they're amazing. So yes, that's all I got. Have a good night. Hello, it is now Wednesday and I just got off work. I wanted to update you on what I have been reading, specifically for Winterkeep. Last time I checked in, I was saying I was not enjoying it, and I am still not enjoying it. Winterkeep is possibly involved in a scheme to steal resources, a specific resource from Bitterblue's kingdom, like right out from under her nose, like she didn't even know it was there. And now it's like kind of being revealed that it's possible her two emissaries who were murdered at sea had to do with it, in that they were trying to relay that information back to Bitterblue, and somebody really didn't want that to happen. I get it, like I care about the conflict. I know what the conflict is, I care, but the experiences of these new kind of cast of characters at Winterkeep, I'm just like not digging down with it. I feel like they kind of just jumped in there with a lot of their own problems when I was really invested in Bitterblue's problems. Without giving you a spoiler, Bitterblue is removed from the current like storyline, and she's still there, but we didn't check in with her for like the first half of the book. I'm now a little bit over halfway and she is now back in it, but for those like good 200 or so pages, we were just not hearing from her, and I was like, where's my girl? Like, I miss her, and I don't really care about this other cast of characters. First off, they are all like romantically or sexually intertwined, and I was like really not expecting that, coming from the absence of those sort of like sexual relationships in the previous books. Now that like Kristin Cashore is like putting sex in this book, in my brain it just doesn't belong in the Graceling Realm series. I definitely feel like she's trying to write a new adult rather than a young adult, which is totally fine. There's nothing crazy graphic or anything, but one of the characters specifically in Winterkeep that we're following has sex to basically distract herself from like things that are going on. which I guess is a coping mechanism for her, not that that makes it okay to me. And I don't know for sure, but Bitter Blue is now like 22, and I'm pretty sure all of these people here, specifically this one character I'm talking about, is of the age of consent and everything. Hi, Editing Sive here. I never readdressed this, but I did find out later in reading the book that she is 16 years old. So do with that information what you will. And I understand that this book has also come out like 9 years after Bitter Blue, the third book in this series. And so Kristin Cashore is assuming all of the people who read that book are grown up now, which is true, and I get it, but I guess I just wasn't expecting it. So that's one of the reasons I don't like it. And the other one of the reasons is because in this Winterkeep area, there are also like magical beings, which is fine, but there's foxes, okay? And there's like this whole bonding thing that like humans bond with a fox, and only one fox, but other than the queen though, like she can bond with like as many foxes as she wants, and she disguises them as cats, and it's just like so weird. And we actually hear from the foxes too, like they've got stream of consciousness, they have dialogue with each other in this book, and I just could not care less. I really don't care, and it's frustrating because I really wanted to like this book, but you know what? That's okay. Not all books are gonna be my cup of tea. I am not gonna DNF this book. It's not gonna happen. But I'm definitely extremely sad that all I have to say about this so far is that I'm not liking it. Which is why there is such a dramatic contrast between Winterkeep and the Empire of Gold. I'm currently on page 340 out of like 780 or so I'm probably 40% of the way through it. I'm enjoying it. I feel like dizzy with the magic that's happening. I feel like I'm being swept up in it. Every time I read this, I feel like I can see and feel everything that the characters are going through. And I also am really enjoying the pace of this. It's super fast. There is so much action. Also, one of the things I appreciate about this book is the timing of the chapter changes. Each chapter produces a new perspective, and we get follow our three perspectives, Dara, Ali, and Nari. I think that S.A. Chakroborty does a good job of kind of like easing you through the story. She doesn't always like break your heart every time a chapter moves on, but she also doesn't make you feel super comfortable and like her characters are like completely safe. I think she does a really good balance of keeping you invested in the well-being of the character while also not like tearing your mind up and trying to like trip you up as a reader. It's just so easy to digest and easy to get into. Like I put my head in this book and I like resurface after like 100 pages and I'm like coming up for air. So this read is going well. I'm very, very happy with the progress that I have made. That's all I got for you. Hope you're doing well. Have a great evening. Hello friends, it is Saturday afternoon and I am sitting here and I'm going to be reading some more of Empire of Gold. I am 550 pages into this book. I was doing more reading last night and I am just so totally scared. There is a moment where we thought like for real, like not just like a fake out, but like one of the characters was actually going to die. And I think I'm just realizing that we are really coming to the end of this thing, and she, S.A. Chakroborty, could totally like kill somebody, and that's totally of her like creative mind to do so. I'm scared. I cried last night reading this book. I've teared up once or twice, but yeah, tears actually fell last night. I was very upset, and I'm so invested in this book, it's embarrassing. But I mean, this is literally why we read. I absolutely love this book so far. I would not be surprised if this is like my favorite book of the year. It's so tough to read because you're watching these characters have to make like the worst decision ever. And no matter what decision they make, it's always going to be bad for somebody else. And so they're always choosing the lesser of two evils. It's like, do you want lethal injection or a firing squad? I don't care, just kill me. Like, it's awful, and it is meant to pull on your emotions, and it's also meant, I think, to parallel some commentary on a lot of politics that we're dealing with now, that no matter what decision people make, there's always going to be somebody hurt, and that sucks. So it's not exactly the most like positive thing as far as like love wins but people are good in the end. Like, that's not this book so far, and I don't know if we'll get there. I don't know if that will be like the way it ends, but I'm not super hopeful. I can totally see S.A. Chakroborty like having an ending that is pretty definitive and conclusive, but it's not gonna be like happy ending, so I'm scared. So I'm just sitting down to read and I'll let you know how it goes. Hi, I did it. I finished both of these books. First off, I'm very pleased that I actually stuck to what I said I was gonna do and finished it in the amount of time that I said I was gonna finish it. Second off, this is one of the most rewarding reading weeks that I have had in a very long time, and that is solely the fault of The Empire of Gold. I just finished this book maybe 30 minutes ago, so I'm reeling, but I will say I enjoyed this wholeheartedly. Every single conflict, every conversation was just so well done, and these characters had so much growth throughout this series, and seeing them in these brand new situations in this book was so rewarding, and it touched my heart, and I'm gonna get emotional. I'm happy that I don't feel the ending came out of absolutely nowhere. I do feel that it was very well led up to and well crafted, not just in those last like 50 pages, but throughout the whole series, honestly, but specifically this book. I loved it, and I will be giving this 5 stars. I think that this is tentatively going to be my favorite book that I read this year, and it's amazing, and I feel very emotional that this series is over, and it just makes me excited to watch what other books that S.A. Chakroborty will put out, and it also gives me hope that I will be able to find other books like this out there and other series like this that do this for me. Maybe I should have waited like a couple more hours after finishing this so that my emotions weren't so fresh to film this clip, but here we are, we're doing it, and this book and this series is everything I wanted and more. I'm gonna move on now. This is an unusual clip to film for me because of the wide contrast of emotions I'm feeling towards these 2 books. Next, we have Winterkeep. I did finish this today as well, and I did not like it. It's okay though, but I might be giving this 1 star. Like I had said in a few clips ago, this book is just not what I was expecting, and some of the avenues and the directions that this book took, I was not down for. I was so much more invested in Bitter Blue's timeline. She's the queen of this city called Monsey, and we literally never saw Monsey like in this book. I'm confused as to why the author did that, and I also had a couple of like personal issues with like some of the characters and the decisions they made, but like it wasn't even like the characters just made bad decision. It was like there was no actual reason why the character made that decision. Like if somebody is a bad character in the book, it doesn't mean the book is bad, but for this instance, I really did think that there was no justification for some of the decisions that were made. Some of the bad guys, I needed more backstory on to believe in why they were bad. Some of the good guys, I was like, why are you acting this way? I need more backstory. I didn't feel that these characters or these plot lines were super fleshed out in order to get me, the reader, on board with what was happening. There was also a separate kind of like god-like creature that we were following who was coming into her godhood, and that was also something we never experienced in the series. And so because this is the 4th book, I was like, where is this coming from? And this creature was doing this other plot line alongside everything that was happening in Winterkeep, and I was like, she's not really directly affecting this storyline, like right until the very, very end. And I did not like that. I want to give it 1 star, but I might give it 2 stars just out of respect for like, I love the Graceling Realm series. I know that Kristin Cashore is putting out a 5th book following someone called Hava, and she is a character that we follow in this book as well as the previous book. So will be reading that, and so out of respect for the Graceling Realm series, I do just want to give it 2 stars. So that is it. Welcome to the end of this vlog. 2 extremely different outcomes, but that does not mean that I did not thoroughly enjoy reading this and trying to get myself through some thick fantasy series that I've wanted to read for a while. Thank you so much for joining me, and if you like videos like this or wrap-ups and TBRs, please feel free to subscribe. I would love to have you, and thanks again for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!